Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah 11, verse number 36. It was revealed to Noah, none of your people will believe except those who have believed already. So, grieve no longer over their evil deeds, but construct an ark under our eyes and our inspiration, and address me no further on behalf of those who are in sin, for they are about to be overwhelmed in the flood. Now, always find this absolutely amazing. Whenever we read the Quran, every time we read it, there's something new, there's something absolutely amazing. Now, let's look for a moment when it says that construct an ark under our eyes. So here is Noah, and God, most merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is telling him to build an ark. Now let's for a few minutes put ourselves in the shoes of Noah. Let's understand what he went through to try and get this thing done. Right. In those days, there was no email and there was no communication, there were written parchments and so on. But God, most merciful, put it into his brain that this is what you must do. Now let's think for a moment. He had to put a pair of every animal onto the ship. That means you have to put elephants and lions and what else do you get? You get birds and you get cows and sheep and camel and cattle and your pets, say there's little kittens there as well, and rabbits and ducks. Alright, you get the idea. And many pictures we see the giraffe sticking his neck out of the window and so on. So a pair of everything. Now, can you imagine what kind of a ship that is and how big it must be to get all of these things in? It's not a little tiny boat. And never before have human beings built a boat. This is the first time human beings have been inspired to build a boat. Right. Now, whichever way that boat looks like, I don't know, right? But let us say it is a magnificently huge boat, right? It will need to have an ability to float. And it had multiple layers. Floor number 1, floor number 2, floor number 3, and so on. Like a huge luxury cruise liner, but it is filled with all various animals. Now, this is the challenge that Noah is faced with. What is he surrounded by? He is surrounded by trees. Right? These are all trees. Now remember, he does not have a Mr. Delivery service there. Cell phones are not invented. Even public phones are not invented. There aren't even hardware shops. So he's got no electric tools. There's no electric tools there. He can't go to the tree and say, zzz, cut that, zzz, cut that, zzz, cut that. He can't do that, so he needs an axe. So now he's chopping, and then the one tree falls down. How does he pick up the tree? Because he needs to take it to, let us say he's allocated a site there. Now he needs ropes or a pulley system or something to drag the first tree there to start the beginning of the boat. Let's say he's just starting the boat and he lays down the first tree, but he can't lay it down yet because he needs to make it into a plank. Now with his axe, he's got to chop that tree, take out all the twigs and everything until he's got a plank. Remember, he's got no electric machines there. He can't just make a plank out of a tree. A tree is round. He's got to cut it with his axe. Now, can you imagine how difficult that is? But let's say after a long time, he manages to get one plank out of it. Now you're tired. Now he's got to do the same thing for another tree. And let us say eventually you need 100 trees or 500 trees, and it takes you 1 day per plank, or even longer by the time you're chopping it and chopping it and chopping it. And then you need 500 days just to get all your planks done. Because you need planks at the bottom, and then you need glue, some sort of waterproofing system to join all these planks, to put the planks sideways like this. And it's got to be a huge ship, so different sizes of planks. Join all the planks together, cork them, and then build level number 2, make another floor of planks, then another wall of planks, and then a roof of planks, and then the floor of planks. So he needed to cut down a hell of a lot of trees, a huge. That means he must be living near a forest. If he wasn't living near a forest, maybe he cut the trees further away, threw the trees down into a river until they ended up near his house, and then he started building it. But Allahu Alam. But Allah gave him the inspiration how to lay down those planks, how to cut the trees down, what to do, how to drag the trees down to his work, his construction site, and how to make this huge boat. But that's only the first part of the problem. Then Allah, most gracious, gave him the inspiration. How is he going to catch an elephant? How? He doesn't have tranquilizer darts. He's not going to be able to shoot that elephant. So how? So he's going to be able. He must chase that elephant. I don't know how he caught those elephants. How is he going to catch some birds and the ducks and the sheep? And well, the sheep and the cows is easier because if they are domesticated, then he can bring them in. But there would be some animals who would have been a great challenge to him. But God, most merciful, inspired him. But even though we just say, okay, he built an ark, but it was actually a very, 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 very long and intensive and detailed project. It was like the magnum opus. It was the project of his life. It was a hell of a big project, and Alhamdulillah, he did it because he only had one chance at it. He couldn't say, okay, I'll experiment with a boat. Maybe it'll sink, or maybe it'll swim, or maybe it'll float. No, he only had one chance at it. That means that after he built it, he had to make sure that all the animals were there, and then this thing doesn't sink. Even in modern days time, when we have a boat that is being, what do they call it? I forget the word. From the timber yard, when they send a boat, they throw a champagne bottle. Some of these boats, they sink, even in modern days, or they fall down. Yet Noah only had one chance at it. And alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, because God most mercifully inspired him, Allah inspired him, so then this boat floated. And then we had two ways. So here's the ground, and then all of a sudden, from deep down under the ground, water started shooting upwards until it reached the surface, and springs started shooting out. Underground springs started shooting out from beneath the ground. Right? These are all droplets of water. But huge fountains of water started gushing out from underneath, and meanwhile, from on top, huge clouds gathered that start dropping rain. And then the boat was now flooded with water from below and water from above. And as the water level started rising, it remained floating. We don't know how long it remained floating. Only Allah knows, right? So, but construct an ark under our eyes. So as we mentioned, this is not a simple process. It was quite an intense, complicated process. So construct an ark under our eyes, and our inspiration and address me no further on behalf of those who are in sin, for they are about to be overwhelmed in the flood. That means the punishment is already on its way. The punishment is on its way, so now Noah can't ask for forgiveness. He can't ask for further time. As soon as the ark is starting to be built, the unbelieving people they've met their doom by the choices that they have made. So forthwith, Noah starts constructing the ark. Every time that the chiefs of his people, remember the chiefs are the wealthy, arrogant ones, the unbelieving, arrogant ones. The chiefs of his people passed by him, they threw ridicule on him. He said, if you ridicule us now, we in our turn can look down on you with ridicule likewise, because Noah knows that he and the believers are on the straight path, the Siratul Mustaqim, the path of truth and goodness. And history has shown, and this is the law of the universe, that truth prevails over falsehood and that good prevails over evil. There's no doubt about it. But soon will you know who it is on whom will descend a penalty that will cover them with shame, on whom will be unloosed a penalty lasting. At length, behold, there came our command, and the fountains of the earth gushed forth. We said, embark therein of each kind two, male and female, and your family, except those against whom the word has already gone forth, and the believers. But only a few believed with him. So he said, embark you on the ark in the name of God, in the name of Allah, Bismillah, whether it move or be at rest. For my Lord is, be sure, oft forgiving, most merciful. Allah is indeed Ghafur Rahim. So the ark floated with them on the waves, towering like mountains, and Noah called out to his son, who had separated himself from the rest, O my son, embark with us and be not with the unbelievers. The son replied, I will betake myself to some mountain. It will save me from the water. And Noah said, this day nothing can save from the command of Allah any but those on whom He has mercy. And the waves came between them, and the sun was among those overwhelmed in the floods. Then the word went forth, O earth, swallow up your water, and O sky, withhold your rain. And the water abated, and the matter was ended. The ark rested on Mount Judah, and the word went forth, away with those who do wrong. And Noah called upon his Lord and said, O my Lord, surely my son is of my family, and your promise is true, and you are the justest of judges. He said, O Noah, he is not of your family, for his conduct is unrighteous. So ask not of me that of which you have no knowledge. I give you counsel, lest you act like the ignorant. Noah said, O my Lord, I do seek refuge with you, lest I ask you for that of which I have no knowledge. And unless you forgive me and have mercy on me, I should indeed be lost. The word came, O Noah, come down from the ark with peace from us, and blessings on you and on some of the peoples who will spring from those with you. But there will be other peoples to whom we shall grant their pleasures for a time, but in the end will a grievous penalty reach them from us. Such are some of the stories of the unseen which we have revealed unto you. Before this, neither you nor your people knew them. So persevere patiently, for the end is for those who are righteous. May your life be filled with barakah and blessings and abundance and goodness and afiyah. Alhamdulillah.